I had quite a few people asking me about the setup with the infinite baffle in my truck and how it was done and how all that worked out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of the truck and just show a video of the stuff that's in there. And then I'm actually going to go through my pictures that I took when I was doing the full setup and the build and actually show you step by step how I built the baffles and basically just installed everything in the truck. So that's what we're going to do now. I've actually got an 8-inch Stevens Audio MB8 in there, and I've got the Stevens Audio horn-loaded compression drivers in here. There's one here behind this grill. It covers from right here to right here, and there's another one on the other side, and then in the center I've just got a little cover to just make that a solid piece all the way across. Up underneath I've got a Helix DSP mini processor, a Triton 1600.1, that's running the subs here. Got one there and one here, and those are 12-inch Image Dynamics, the ID Max. And the way that these are set up is up underneath that actually vents to the outside. Maybe you can see that. There's a vent right there, and then the same thing on the other side. May not be able to see it from here. This is the setup on the inside of the truck. These are the Stevens Audio horn-loaded compression drivers. As you can see, I've got this. I've got a bracket here that's connected up here. I've got another bracket over here connected there, and then I've got another strap that goes from up here up underneath the actual horn body, connected up to hold it up in the back. And that's the same thing on both sides. There's the other side, the passenger side. It's done the same way. These are the doors. You can see that it's got this plastic film here. I removed that, and since it had these large openings here, I closed those in with some metal. Did sound deadening on the inside. You can see here I've got some of the panels already in place, just mocked up before the deadener goes on. One here, another one up top, and then this one here. And here we are with the kill mat. It's deadened on the inside and on the outside. Some of these spots I had to leave open just because that's where the brackets are for the door panel to slide down on, so those had to stay open. There's a Stevens Audio MB8. This is the factory interior with the cloth seats. They were still in pretty good shape. The carpet was fairly dirty, as you can see. The truck was used as a truck, so stuff has been spilled. But I pulled that carpet out, cleaned up the floor, installed the kill mat here on the bottom all the way across. And then I also used a foam layer on top of that. And these are some 1-inch speaker rings that I used to mount the MB8s in the doors to. I needed a 1-inch spacer, so I just had some made out of aluminum instead of doing a plastic or MDF or something like that. And here's the carpet. I got it taken out. I pressure washed it, scrubbed it down real good. And you can see here's where I went in and put some paint on that. This is the Sim color coat, and unfortunately I took a lot of these pictures with my phone. I didn't have this camera at the time, so some of these pictures aren't real good. There's where it's finished, and all these lines here, they don't actually show up. They were just from where I sprayed it on, and I used a nylon brush to rub everything in, just to make sure it was even. There's another shot of the 8. Put a layer of deadener on the top. And these are what's up underneath the back that the 12s are actually mounted to. You can see I cut one out of MDF first, and then I used the router to cut the actual aluminum piece out of. These are the baffles that it's mounted to. And there's the sub with that sitting on top of it. And here are some rings that I'm cutting to go on the other side, on the external side, because I'm making a grill to go on that. So I had to cut 4 of those out. And here's the woofer actually mounted in there. I used the tap and die set to to tap those holes. And this is where I was making the pressed grill to go inside of there. I didn't have my press at the time, so I just improvised with the weight of the truck. And there's the press grill that I made. You can see where I did a chamfer on this piece, and you can see that profile that's been put on that. These are those aluminum rings that I cut out earlier, and this is sandwiched in between these two. And there's actually two of these grills, so in between here there's a waterproof membrane that keeps the subs from getting wet or any dirt from getting to them. There's another profile of that. And there we are with the sub mounted on top. And here's where I was drilling and tapping everything. I don't have a drill press right now, so I just used this handheld drill press and just kind of clamped everything together just to make sure I had straight lines going all the way through. And there we are up underneath with a dry fit. Still need to do a little bit of cutting at this point, smooth some stuff out on the edges, seal it up. And there that one is in the floor. You can kind of get an idea how that's mounted. And these are the other side. You can see I've got this one, I think it's a 1 inch by 1 inch bar that goes along here that plate comes down through and bolts. And I took the outside rings and actually painted those black along with the pressed metal grill just to keep any corrosion off of that. And there that is installed with the membrane put inside of it. And there that is installed with the kill mat going around the outside edges to make sure everything is sealed up from the inside. And there's one shot of the outside. And I've got a seam sealer that goes around the edge of this here to make sure that that metal is sealed up. And here we are on the inside with some of the trim. You can see I've already got the carpet put in. These are the panels that I made. These actually bolt down to that steel or to that aluminum baffle on the bottom. And I made a couple pieces that are magnetized to go right here. And I got the processor here, got the sub amp, and they're floating so my wires can come in and go up underneath. And there's the sub. These are the holes for the magnets that I'm going to use to hold the other pieces on. It's just a profile of the top trim. And these are all the interior plastic pieces. I went through and took everything out, repainted everything just to make it all look new as well. This is the trim ring that goes all the way around the amp rack. I used the Mobile Solutions kit to do this. And this is a black primer that I put on top just to seal up the MDF, so when I put the texture on top of it, it doesn't soak in. And here it is after I've done the texture on the top piece. This down here is wrapped in vinyl. This is a red vinyl. This is a gray vinyl here. And those other pieces that are going to go on top of here will be shown in a minute. That's what those are there. I did the same thing with those as I did the other trim ring. I primed them, put a texture on it, and painted those to match. And there you can see the color match is pretty good between this and the vinyl up underneath. There's some more of the plastic pieces that are on the inside. I redid these with this this gray fabric. Also did the headliner. And these are some kicker amps that I was going to use in there. These were originally silver, but I went in and painted them black, but I decided not to use those. And here you can see where I'd got to put a grill over the compression drivers going all the way across. And I changed out the steering wheel. And these are just a few pictures with the lights. These are the I bought something temporary to use just for right now, just because I'd already spent so much money on doing the rest of the truck. I didn't want to spend a whole lot on the amps for the 8s and the horns for right now, so these are just what I'm running until I actually buy the amps that I want to put in here. And here we are, some lights. I took the plastic off of the back of these right here. I didn't want to do that until I got the seat bolted in fully and had everything done. That way I wanted to make sure that I didn't scratch this chrome any worse than what it already was. And I've got some LEDs in here up under the front and back seat. And these are the actual 8s inside the doors. The compression drivers here. And this is the ventilation that I used to put in between the two press grills to make sure that no water, or dirt or anything like that was able to make it up through. That's the setup in my truck, and if you haven't yet, I do have a video of me playing some audio through it here on YouTube. It's linked right above. Go ahead and check that out, and I would recommend using some earbuds to listen to it.